It's not good. Welcome to the Barre Beat podcast, live from Raylene's basement. With us tonight, we have, of course, Raylene.
Me.
And how are you doing this evening?
Just wonderful.
So
Amazing.
Amazing?
Sure. We have internet back. We didn't lose power this time, knock on wood. We didn't get all the rain they said we were going to get, so no flooding.
Yeah.
That was my biggest concern.
I was not happy I had to go into work today because I didn't have internet this morning. It was very depressing.
Oh, that's right, because you usually work from home on Mondays.
I do. I couldn't today, sadly. Very, very sadly.
No internet means Michael goes into the office.
Yep. So, can I bore you with information?
You can try.
I can try?
Yeah,
I can try?
Sure.
So, I have to say, someone asked me about, and I apologize for those that are listening, you're going to get a historical rant. I was asked about the Barre Auditorium, and they said, do you have any information on the Barre Aud? And good evening, Francine. I said, I have a couple books, and I gave them, there's like a few paragraphs in there about it. And I've always referred to it as the Gordon's Folly, because that's what I read in a book, that it's Gordon's Folly, which for those that don't know, John Gordon was the mayor of Barre City before the auditorium was built, and he pushed to get the Barre Aud built. So the Barre Auditorium was built on the same place where Goddard Seminary was. So I ended up going online and like reading all these articles about the Barre Auditorium. So I am like super into it. Because you're a little bit older than I am.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the Thompson Memorial Building there that was right next to the auditorium?
I remember there was a building there, but I do not remember what it was called.
Yep.
No.
It was the Thompson Memorial Building. It was referred to as like the tick, a parasite on the city, because no money was made on it. And they tore it down back in the 80s. But like Alumni Hall, do you know how old that building is?
No.
So, and this is just my ignorance, and I apologize for those that are
connected. Are they? It's connected to the auditorium, correct? They are connected to the
auditorium, but they're only connected in recent times, because it wasn't. So the Alumni Hall was actually there with Goddard College.
Oh.
I know. I didn't know that. I thought Alumni Hall was built around the same time as the Barre Auditorium, but it wasn't. So the Barre Auditorium was built in 1939. It was voted on in 1938. September 29th of 1938, John Gordon pitched it to the city saying, hey, we're going to be voting on this tomorrow on the 30th, which was kind of weird. They voted on the 30th of September for it, which is very strange. It was a very close vote. There was only 1,200 people that actually voted. And it was like somewhere around 400 to 600 vote. And they built it. But in one of the articles that I read, it said that it was built it was built so that we could put a pool in the basement.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
I know. Like, I want to talk to Jeff about that, because I'm just going to say I would love to have an indoor pool here in Barre City. That would be amazing. For the record, that's not happening, folks. But
right.
It would be pretty darn cool. I mean, you have to admit that would be pretty awesome.
Well, and back when, even in the 70s and early 80s, they held a lot of events at the auditorium.
Well,
they had big time concerts come to the auditorium. They had professional wrestling, boxers, all kinds of things used to happen there.
So what's interesting is because one of the books that I had, it references Gordon's Folly, because Gordon was the one that wanted to have the Barre Auditorium. And I did a search on that in the newspaper articles, and it was only mentioned twice. Once talking about, no, it might have been only once that it was talked about or said, and it was referring to how people said it was Gordon Folly, but it wasn't, because it was actually bringing in money for the city, which was pretty interesting. At the time, it was like, there was none in the state like it. So obviously it was a pretty big thing, and we got it from a Public Works Administration grant that came. I think that was to Public Works Administration. I think was part of the the Great Depression. One of Roosevelt's programs to get out of the Great Depression. And it was pitched to, it'll provide jobs for folks for 9 months. I was really intrigued, and I highly recommend that people go and actually read this. I'll actually, you know what? I'll post the articles on.
Yeah, I was going to say you should start posting the articles.
I'll post them on the page, and people can read them, because they were. It was pretty stinking awesome. It was pretty stinking awesome to see that, and it gave me a new respect. Let's be honest. Everybody knows that the Barre Auditorium, when you compare it to what Goddard Seminary looked like, it's like comparing, you're comparing a Mona Lisa to Michael Booton's artwork.
Right.
The auditorium does not look beautiful compared to the Goddard Seminary, which, yeah, I was just like totally geeking out about it, and I wanted to share that with you.
Well, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. I think even the BOR has a really cool history.
It does.
And with the Badeaus, who still all play hockey there. They have like 5 or 6 generations that play hockey there. Johnny Badeau, and his father Victor, and then Victor's brothers, so Johnny's uncles. They were actually part of the construction of the BOR.
Oh, really?
And still to this day play hockey there. And he knows tons of stuff about the BOR. And just sitting and speaking with him has been really interesting as well.
I'll have to go and take a look at the newspaper articles for those as well.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It's certainly a rabbit hole that you can fall down. I ended up spending like 5 hours researching it. I was so enthralled with it. I don't know why. I guess I'm a geek. But at least I was reading instead of watching a video or something.
Right.
You know,
playing games on your phone.
Video games, yeah.
You were educating.
Yeah, I was educating. So, want to talk about Jeep Miss?
Sure, I would love to. We had an amazing time. It was great. 25 Jeeps this year. Hoping that next year, I'd love to double that. I really would love to have 50 Jeeps. But we all brought a toy to give to Christmas for Kids.
Christmas for Kids.
And
I love it.
I do too. I love it. And I love the fact that Jason and Katie were there with us. Jason Fleury escorted us the whole way, saw us through all of the stoplights and stop signs, and played Mariah Carey the entire way, I think.
Yes.
I don't know how many times one person could listen to that song, but apparently Jason either had really good earplugs or he has an extreme tolerance, because even if you like a song, listening to it that many times over and over and over and over again, come on.
Well, I mean, I could listen to that a couple times. I mean, it is Mariah Carey, the queen of Christmas.
Well, I just think any song that you love, you may not love it after hearing it 30 times in a row.
Maybe.
We were driving for just over an hour, and the song's like 3 minutes and something seconds long. So, I don't know.
Well, one of the intersections it wasn't playing that.
No.
But, I mean, he could have been doing it to troll JD.
He could have been. Because
Which,
does he
by the way,
know?
would have been
Did you
amazing for a troll.
Did you tell Jason that JD hated Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You?
Well, I think
does he
watches. I think he watches. Shirley writes, he has an extreme tolerance. Think of all the concerts he goes to with his daughter.
Very true. Very true. He is a top-notch dad.
Does he go to, is it Taylor Swift?
I don't know if he went to her or not, but he's gone to some pretty different concerts. Yeah, he's a top-notch dad for sure.
Yes. Well, anyway, so yeah, it was a lot of fun. Jeep Missing. For those that want, you can go to the Aired Out page and watch the video, or I think we shared it on the Barre City Community fan page as well.
It has been seen like almost 4,000 times now.
Pretty good.
Isn't that insane?
That's pretty good.
I was so happy to see that many people tuned in and so many people excited about it. And I hope that many people get excited next year and join us at the event. And
I'm just going to say, I hope Shirley wrote ask him about Ozzy Osbourne sometime. Long before he was a cop, huh?
Too funny.
I'm intrigued by this. I feel like we should call him and ask.
Why do you think that Ozzy didn't do concerts after he was a cop? I don't know when Ozzy Osbourne stopped
is
doing
pretty old.
Concerts.
I think he still does. I just don't think he bites the heads off the chickens anymore.
Did he ever truly do that?
I think that was an urban legend.
I know that he's certifiable, but yeah, I don't know.
And permanently stoned.
Well, that's tolerance, Michael. Tolerance. 3.8 thousand times the video of us parked at the mall.
That's pretty good.
And then the 2.3 for over the
bats, Connie. That's right. It was bats.
Yeah, it was bats. That's right. It was bats. Nasty. Goodness gracious.
So regarding Christmas for Kids, we did have on Saturday a wrapping party. We wrapped gifts. Rosemary was there. Jen Carbonneau was there. Mm-hmm. Jason obviously was there because he's always there.
Rosemary Averill.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Rosemary Averill. Nicholas Storelli Castro, the city manager, showed up. Larry Eastman and his wife. And Brad Vale and his wife showed up. And
nice. I'm so sad I couldn't go.
Yeah.
Maybe next time. Maybe next.
It was a lot of fun.
I was still not feeling the greatest.
Yeah. There was quite a few people there. We had probably not enough room for anybody else. We also had a girl named Vanessa, who is a nurse at BCEMS, I believe.
Nice.
And she showed up. So big thank you to those folks. We polished off all but 5 bags. So
nice.
That's pretty awesome.
And you are doing a second wrapping
We
event.
are. We're going to be wrapping on the 16th as well. And that's to finish off anything that's left behind from Friday, which Renita Marshall Helping Hands Foundation is organizing a wrapping party for to help out with the Christmas for Kids. So, and then we're going to go in and clean up anything that's left.
It was a very busy weekend.
It really was.
There was the wrapping. There was Jeepmas. There was the Young Republicans Ball.
Yep.
There was the pub crawl.
Yep.
The event that Enough Ministries and William Ravies held.
Yep.
Where they had the truck parked on Merchants Row. I mean, it was a pretty busy weekend.
It was.
Yeah.
I slept on Sunday.
course you
nap.
did.
I took a nap. I always take a nap. So you want to jump into the council agenda?
If we must.
It's actually pretty light. So tonight's video is going to be pretty short for the most part. We basically have 3 things on the agenda tomorrow night. We're starting at 7 p.m.
Which is a time change because they used to be 7. Then we went to 6 for a while. And now this one's going to be at 7.
Yes, I am so thankful. I'm not going to lie
Well, I
to you.
think
I'm
that
not
maybe
a big
maybe
fan.
they're doing an accommodation for another meeting that's being held earlier in the day for people that want to take some training on how to be a school board member.
Oh, that could be it. I am obviously not going to sign up for that. So
I hope not. I hope you. I hope
Already on
you're
the
all
school
trained
board.
up already.
yes, I am.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we're going to be at 7:00. Part of the consent agenda is a Martin appraisal services, which finally we're going to have an appraiser for Barre City.
Right, and that has not been the case for how long?
Since Joe Levesque was gone. So we're talking, golly, couple years. Feels like a couple years. It's insane. I'm so thankful that we're gonna have an appraiser there, and they're gonna, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. We have to have an assessor. And I said appraiser, but it's an assessor position. They're going to do it part-time, and we're going to contract with the organization, which I just mentioned, for Martin Appraisal Services. The Appraisal Services Incorporated, $100 an hour for 20 hours per week, estimated cost $100,000 per year, budgeted on the 502 assessor budget.
I want to make $100 an hour for 20 hours a week.
Well, you
could you pencil me in for that somewhere?
Could, if you take the courses for being an appraiser.
All right.
You gonna do that?
Sure, why not?
You could.
No,
You
and
could
they
do
probably
it.
won't let me because I live in the town, and you probably have to live in the city to do that too, right?
No, you don't have to do that. The town and the city at one point did share Joe Levesque, actually. And then.
And why wouldn't they?
Right. Because.
Smart idea.
Yeah.
The town and the city should share lots more things, like school systems.
I'm certainly not going to disagree with you on that. Yeah. So we have not had an assessor for several years. We did try to recruit one. And we have failed multiple times. It's a dying trade. And it's interesting, like thinking about trades. It's a problem, when you're sending all your kids off to college and you're not looking at really great opportunities. I'd like to know if that person that got the degree in underwater basket weaving is making $100 an hour.
Yeah, probably not. Just saying. Yeah.
So yeah, that's, and then we'll have a conversation about the budget. And Nicholas did send us the budget slides today. I have not got around to reading them because I was
But
working.
we all have to be honest, and we can be honest right now and just say it's frightening.
Yeah.
The budget is frightening, and it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of deep breaths, and I'm sure a lot of late nights. None of us are going to like it. That's for sure, no matter where you are. And I mean, some of it starts with the state, and some of it starts with the feds and how you're voting, who you're voting. And this is a real shitty trickle down effect.
Yes.
It is. I mean, all the way around. And what gets reimbursed to the city from all of the flood damage, what doesn't. And there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle. I would not want to be any of you. No.
I know that there will likely be some sort of funds coming to the city. I mean, Phil Scott loves Barry. It's just, I'm sure his budget will have that. Francine is asking, is it too late to sign up from Toys for Tots?
I believe so.
I'm not familiar with that.
But
I know Michael Deering is on,
yeah.
so he might be able to answer that. Christmas for Kids, you can always sign up for Christmas for Kids anytime and provide a gift. We would absolutely love that, because if we don't use it this year, we will use it next year.
Or if you have kids that could use help with toys.
Yes.
To sign up. You can sign up through the school.
Correct.
For Christmas for Kids.
Correct. Sorry. I was looking at that differently.
Either way, we want to tell both sides of the coin.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. So we're going to have the conversation about the budget, and Michael told me he was yes. So if you, Francine, if you want to sign up, I would recommend reaching out to a school or Jason Fleury for Christmas for Kids. But for Toys for Tots, I would
Salvation
direct you.
Army.
Oh, is it Salvation Army? Okay, so reach out to Salvation Army.
Yeah.
So the budget, Michael said that Nicholas is going to recommend that we postpone the budget vote until May, so that we will know whether or not the state is going to provide us funds, which is a pretty interesting idea. I think it was during COVID, there was a legislation passed that allows us to make that decision. So I'm sure that we'll have the conversation, but obviously we're not going to make a decision tomorrow night. It's not warned for that. But I'm sure a conversation about it will ensue. But yeah, it's interesting.
And so just the budget would get postponed and nothing else.
Well,
we would hope.
I can't imagine any other reason. There's no reason to postpone elections. That to me would be...
It's suppressing the votes.
Well, it would be, even the budget, I would contest that sending it to May would be suppressing the votes. But the benefit of having the May is that we would know whether or not we're going to have to make draconian cuts.
Right.
Because the budget that he presented at last Tuesday's council meeting was kind of scary. About it.
Yeah. It was absolutely frightening.
Yeah.
Huge increase.
There's a potential for
19%.
Yeah. A huge increase or significant layoffs. And
we can't
neither
afford
one of those
layoffs.
Things that's certainly not good.
And we do not, under any circumstances, want to start cutting our police force.
No, we definitely don't.
That's what's frightening to me. When you start talking about where layoffs would take place, you know that those are the first targets. Those and cemeteries, the maintenance of cemeteries, and
that was brought up.
Yeah, things like that. And I can't imagine Hope Cemetery being unmaintained, especially because it's a tourist attraction as well as a resting place for, my mom. I'd go up and mow just her spot and take care of it if I had to, but it would just be a shame to see something like that happen.
I cannot... just the idea of having Hope not mowed, or any of the cemeteries, that's one of those things that people get really a visceral reaction out of, and the reason why is because our loved ones are buried there. But we're talking about that. It's a serious issue, right? When we're talking about, providing what is vital services, Obviously, the water department, that's a vital service. I mean, we're talking about, we just, you just can't give up that service. I mean, because then you don't have clean water,
Right.
and it's the same thing with police and the fire and, the public works, and it's all the things that get cut first are the things that, like one of the proposed cuts was, the trash or bulky waste, which, it's like, it's frustrating, right? I mean, it's an easy cut though, and it's like $1,700 or $17,000, I think it was. But it's pretty tough. And Jen Lawrence says we can't afford an 18% tax increase.
No.
That will be crippling to our community. And yes, it will.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, people don't take into consideration is who a tax increase affects. People that are living on a fixed income in a house that they own, that they'll feel it. They'll still feel it, but they will have the option of getting that homeowner's rebate, right? And I don't know how that works, but they will have that
homeowner's
option.
rebate is not going to suck up 18%
absolutely
increase,
not.
though. It
Absolutely not.
so it will make it a 16% increase instead of an 18. It's really not going to be that big of a difference.
Right.
It's
right.
not.
And
not.
Connie does mention people are not going to want to lose those services. In school, so it will be hard.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's
yeah.
going to be a tough conversation, and I'm willing to hear him out as far as pushing the budget down the road a little bit so that kind of stuff can be figured out, as long as no other elections are going to be affected. We need to the vote needs to take place for council, mayor, other officials in the city. That vote needs to move forward.
100% agree with that. 100%. But I get back to my comment about, the people that are affected the most by tax increases are people that can't afford it the most, which are people that are living in apartments. They do not get any homeowner rebate. They don't get, the people that are paying for their rent, that cost for landlords, they don't get any of that, and they won't absorb. I'm saying exactly what Jen just posted.
Right.
Landlords can't absorb that level of an increase.
Right.
It's going to be passed down to the tenants. It's really tough road for all. And that's 100% accurate.
Right.
So it'll be a tough conversation that we have, and how we come out of that, I don't know. I'll say this. We need someone to step up into the gap and fight and charge forward and make our city, we lost that huge percentage of grand list. We have got to move forward to make that grand list. And I'll just say it, the state is backing the Gateway project. And there's some other opportunities that might be out there. And if city council can just get behind those opportunities,
right, instead of blocking them,
we could see not this next session, right? We're not going to see anything. We're talking years down the road. But I'll point out that the work that Tom did to make City Place come to fruition, benefiting us this year. I think it's this year. And if it's not, it's next year. It's like the Blanchard block that's coming fully on the tax rolls. That was something that Tom also helped with. And
people's health and wellness.
Yes. All that
those things.
Right. That's stuff that's going to be beneficial in the years to come. I think people's health and wellness has a tax stabilization on it. But yeah, so we definitely need to charge forward, and I know that folks are really hesitant about the North End Gateway, but I'll say this: I represent Ward 2, And I know that the designs had Ward 2 in that. Well, let's just be honest. It ain't happening. Okay. Those buildings, I mean, some of them were on, protected land. So that's that right there out. And then there's like,
but it was
owner
just
occupied.
an idea.
Correct. It was just an idea. And
And
some of those properties down on the, like, down by, closer to the, in front of the police station, some of those properties, that could be a great place, a bookend to, the Barre Manor. And there's houses in between and property in between. I know somebody there that's been trying to sell a huge lot for the last 10 years. And there's an opportunity. And I'll say this, we have to support it.
It doesn't have to look like the pictures that they
No,
brought.
absolutely
that was
not.
just
It does
literally here,
Right.
this is what we could do, but we want your ideas. That's what they said. And so people really need to start getting involved with what that's going to look like. If you have a huge amount of angst about it and you're not okay with what was in the pictures, then let's hear what your vision is.
But I think that most of the people that have a huge amount of angst in it that saw it in the pictures are not people that are going to be, for the most part, affected, because that part of those projects are not going to happen.
Right. It can, because they can't.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's an interesting idea. But I thought to myself, that house is not going to sell. They were not damaged. That's not happening. And that piece of property was, it's protected. So, I mean, I knew that, when I saw it. So, I wasn't overly concerned. I think the thing that we have to think about for the gateway is that we have to realize that the state is like all in. And if the state is moving forward with it, we should just like, please go for it. Do it. We should be supporting of it. And like I said, there's other options that we have out there, that are stewing, cooking in the boiler or crock pot to speak. Anyway, so that could help us, but we would definitely need someone to charge forward on that. But so that being said, that's the woes of our, I know. Raylene. I've already thought about doing the draft. Anyway, that being said,
you're just trying to get me into trouble.
I was trying to get you into trouble.
Because
I know.
That I tend to do that.
I know what I want. But anyway, and so that's the budget. We're going to have that conversation, I'm sure, and we'll probably defer any decision on voting on or changing the budget to May. Folks, if you could post on there, tell me what your thoughts on it. I also posted on the Barre City Community fan page to see what people were thinking about it. And the next thing is a letter of interest for development of Seminary Street parking lot.
Which I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, why not?
Hey, listen. For folks that don't know, we're talking about this parking lot right here.
Yeah, because a lot of people do not know.
Correct.
I've tried to explain it to a couple of people, and they do not. So maybe this will help.
So this right here is the parking lot that we're going to be discussing. This is the Presbyterian Church, the Green Church, and Catholic Church is over here.
Yeah.
And this is the Grand Union Plaza where Lenny's and Walgreens is. Key Bank is here. Chinese restaurant over here for Community National. So this piece of property right down in our main downtown,
Main Street, yeah.
Main Street, just about. We're going to do a letter of interest, asking folks if they want to get that property and build on it, which is an excellent opportunity to...
And tell where, so you just had the picture up there. and you have it outlined in yellow,
Yeah.
and that sits right behind what?
Sits right behind. What do you mean? Sits right behind
The
what?
parking lot. So Key Bank is in front of it,
Yep. This is Key Bank.
right?
This is Main Street. Key Bank is right here.
And then the big
Well,
church
used
with
to
the
be Key
copper.
Bank.
Right.
Correct. I think it's the Presbyterian Church.
I think so too.
Somebody pop in the comments if
and
it's
there
the
used to be like a
Presbyterian.
barber shop down underneath or something. Yeah.
I don't remember that. I remember going to Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts there.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where it is. It's a
Yeah.
good sized parking lot too.
It's a very big.
You can get to
parking
Northfield
lot.
Savings Bank from it too to
Yeah.
get to their drive-through.
Yes. So we'll be discussing on whether or not we want to, what if anybody has any interest. So it's the city of Barre, like many communities, is experiencing a housing shortage that has been made worse by the flood of July 2023. The city owns a 4.1. Francine, we're not talking, just for clarity, we're not talking about a garage. We're talking about the city, selling it to someone for $1. That's what we're going to be discussing for building of housing. It says, interest in redevelop this lot for residential housing or mixed use retail office. Must include multiple residential units. The successful applicant will have a multi-unit design that incorporates a detailed plan to provide mixed housing options. The city plans to sell it to a developer for $1, which is huge. I mean,
I'm just
obviously
going
not
to tell you
huge
right
'cause
now
it's
that
$1.
the whole mixed use thing, I understand that in some communities. I just don't think it's all that important in ours. And the reason being is we have plenty of office spaces that are vacant right now.
Right.
But
true.
we do not have plenty of vacant housing units. And
Correct.
so for me, the mixed use thing doesn't matter. There is always plenty of space on Main Street for office space. I can think of at least 10 off the top of my head right now that have nobody in them. And so, and I wish I could think of 10 apartments with no one in them, but I can't.
Well, I make the comment that I think our housing crisis is a little confusing. And I just want to point out this right here.
Would
Could
buy
get
the
you
parking lot.
a parking lot as long as you develop it.
As long as you have $1 million budget.
Correct. It would probably be more like $3 or $4 million budget. And I'm gonna post the link to the page in the stream so folks can click on it. What were you saying? Because I got lost.
About the mixed use space? That I just don't. I don't think that that's as important. I know that people, when it's been talked about at council the last couple of times, there are people that chime in every time and say, it should be like a model, like in this city or that city, and I'm all for. I'm for Barre moving forward, but I'm not for Barre moving beyond their means, and I'm not sure that we're ever going to have the population here. I don't know how to put it in a nice way because I'm not being mean about it. I love it here. I will stay here always. I just think that we have to provide for the people that are here right now what they can. This is who is here, so let's provide for them. And we have plenty of mixed space already.
And Connie asked if we're talking private, and yes, it would be private. The public portion of it would be us giving the property away, basically. So it would go through that, Yeah, and Jen says we already have enough mixed use. Focus needs to be on housing.
It's just that's what I think. Even when we talk about, so we talk about things that people want to see come to Barre, and restaurants, and we know that big chain restaurants are probably never going to come here. We don't have the people or the economy to support such a thing. People always say Cracker Barrel, things like that. They don't want to be here. Not even in Berlin. That's why Home Depot doesn't want to come. Big box stores like that. That's not where we're at with things. And then when we talk about even smaller businesses like super, maybe a restaurant that's already open in Burlington, moving to Barre. But can the people here actually afford it? Is there any... So are the people that actually live here and love it here in the city, can they afford to take their family out and get something to eat?
Valid point. I do want to throw in there about a chain restaurant that I would love to see in Barre City. You want to guess what it is?
Taco Bell.
What, do you think I have a problem with my stomach and I just want to No, not Taco Bell.
I don't know. What would you want to see?
Eat more chicken.
What is that? Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A.
Oh, I've never ever been there in my life, so. But lots of people say it.
Oh. You've never been to Chick-fil-A?
No. Must be JD signed on too, because he just said
is
Olive Garden.
Is JD on right now?
Well, Aired Out is commenting, and I'm not touching the keyboard.
So that means Chick-fil-A. I don't want a lot for Christmas. There's just one thing I need. And
I am not singing Mariah Carey. Oh my God, you're such a little shit.
I know. Anyway, so it'll be interesting of a conversation. I can't wait to have that. I'm fully supportive of doing a letter of interest for that.
Mm-hmm.
I
just hope it's really well thought out.
I hope so too. But again, my thought, we talk about what's affordable housing, right? And I don't think we need affordable housing. I think we need cheap housing. Mm-hmm. People need, there's a market for folks that aren't getting subsidies and folks that can't afford, $1,200 apartments. Mm-hmm. And it has to be cheap, which means those apartments are not going to be like the beautiful apartments that, everybody's like, oh, we got to have these downtown. No, those aren't the apartments that people need. People need a house, mm-hmm. Somewhere to rest. It's not, mm-hmm. Honestly, we've probably got to lower our standards on what we think we need for mm-hmm. housing. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, we need a place to put our heads, go to the bathroom, and take a shower, mm-hmm. right? And it'll be interesting to see what we get. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I agree with you. We have to, and even if, going forward, we start thinking about tiny homes and how the city is going to look. Is it going to look the way it always has? Or maybe someday they will say we have to have a mobile home park somewhere, or a park of just tiny homes, or back in the day they did Sears and Roebuck homes.
True.
You could literally, there's a whole neighborhood of them in Northfield. It's pretty cool.
Well, I'll say this. I was looking at some stuff and I saw Boxable, which I guess it comes all pre-made, everything, and you unfold it, mm-hmm. which would be really awesome.
Well, it'd certainly be quick and wouldn't be taking years to do.
Right. And Jen says we can't make cheap housing, and I get that. But
yeah, that's the problem. The problem right now is the cost of everything. There's no way to make cheap housing. When I say
cheap housing, though, you got to understand when I'm saying cheap housing, I mean, we're not putting bells and whistles on, right? And that's what I mean by cheap housing. We need housing that people can live in, but not necessarily enjoy that much.
Efficiencies and
correct.
Small
Efficiency
units and mm-hmm.
right. Mm-hmm. But that's just me personally. I mean, I technically live in an apartment that's smaller than your your living room here. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, but yeah, so that's all there is for the city business. Do you have anything that you want to chat about? We went 45 minutes.
I'm surprised.
No,
Well,
I know.
Kind of.
I know.
Kind of. I am kind
We
of.
could
I'm
talk
not.
about school board.
We could. You could. I have not been keeping up. I'm not gonna lie. I stay right away from that because it's just a little bit too much for me. I feel like it's kind of childish.
Yeah.
And now are you saying shit? I should have never
I
asked
should
her.
have never asked her.
Well, I've never seen such a ruckus in my life. It's a little bit crazy.
And Jen, Barb says the problem is people don't respect the places they live, and sometimes, which is why things are so expensive. Mm-hmm. And that's 100% true. I've seen properties that were completely demolished, and who takes care of that problem? It's the landlord. And I know that we love to hate on landlords. Not all landlords are terrible.
No, the majority of them are
terrible
right. The
too.
majority of them are really good. They've just really gotten screwed over many times, and I've talked about that with you many times. The unfortunate part is that landlords in the state of Vermont, in many states, but here especially, they have absolutely no rights, none. Somebody can say, "Screw you! I'm not paying my rent for 8 months, and I'm gonna totally destroy this place and let you pay attorney fees to get me out of here." And then so the landlord suffers all of that financial burden and then has to fix as well. It's a lot. There has to be a happy medium, and that means that the state, the cities, the towns are going to have to start supporting the landlords on some level. We can't always be like letting people live with excuses of why they're shitheads. We can't. Poor me crap. And then, okay, we'll let you get away with it again and again, and we'll give you more money and more money and more money. And meanwhile, all these other people are suffering. There has to be a happy medium. And right now there is not. It's very one-sided.
I know.
I mean, we just had a drug bust in the Barre Housing Authority. A couple of them, in fact. And some really crappy things going on. And not even the housing authority can evict.
No, they can't. But regarding the drug bust, I'm using my thinking cap on those, which who knows what will happen in the next couple weeks. I think I want to push forward an idea. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
I'm not afraid of any idea that's going to combat that issue.
Yeah.
Of that discussion
I think
all day,
most
every
people
day.
would be like, yeah, let's do that. But I don't know if it's legal.
It's probably not.
It's probably
because
not.
Again, we protect instead of make people. And the way we should be protecting is with resources to get help.
Yeah.
That's how we should protect them.
As you and I have spoken many times, mandatory rehab.
And if you don't want to help yourself, then we're not going to help you either.
Mandatory rehab and manslaughter whatever.
Manslaughter for anybody who's selling drugs that they know they laced with fentanyl.
Jen says, are we going to start taxing the drug dealer? That's actually a really good idea. Wow. Maybe we can get the United States government to do that.
They've talked about legalizing all drugs so that they can do that, actually, because they say in some countries they have legalized
Portugal.
drugs. And then Kesha Ram came and actually did a amazing talk about that all at Jenna's Promise. And I won't get into all of that, but they have talked about how it changed things. It almost became like
alcohol.
Like pointless. And when it was legal and the drug dealers couldn't make as much money, then I'm not there yet either. I'm a long way away from that. That talk alone.
I don't think we should have legalized pot or alcohol for that matter.
Yeah. Well, I'm all right with pot for medical reasons.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just a big fan of let's not cloud our mind.
And if you want to, yeah. Honey,
But
you're clouded already.
Well, that's the thing. My mind is already clouded for the most part.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, folks, we want to say thank you for watching and join us. I don't know if we'll have one next week.
Right. We don't know because right now you guys are playing it by ear. Right. You'll find out tomorrow night whether or not you're having a meeting the following week.
That is correct.
Although last week it was discussed that you guys need to have meetings more than every other week right now because there's a lot at stake.
There is. And that's a very valid point.
Mm-hmm.
So
maybe we'll see you next Monday.
Maybe.
But if not, I will see you in the morning.
Correct.
On Aired Out.
So
for sure.
If I don't see you guys, if I don't see you next week, I will not be here for Christmas.
You're not going to come over on Christmas Eve?
Well, I'm hoping. So I have trigeminal neuralgia, and I'm going to the chiropractor to have it dealt with, and it's now not a problem anymore. But I had a chiropractic adjustment today, so my next one is on Friday. If I'm okay, if I can continue to be okay, I plan on being in Virginia during Christmas.
Going away another holiday, are you?
I know.
All right.
I'm starting to like the whole idea.
Well, maybe I'll drag Michael and Rosemary in here on.
Oh,
no, it's Christmas Day.
Yeah,
they have kids and grandkids. I'm just being a smarty.
Yeah,
we can't do that.
I don't think
I'm not doing it on Christmas Day either. Forget it. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I've done the ornaments in my beard before. It is amazing when I put them in. It's pretty cool looking.
Michael, there's nothing amazing about that. I'm cutting that sucker off one of these times. And when you come, I'm going to get a tranquilizer gun from one of my friends. I'm going to give you a little dart right in the ass and cut your beard off. Who votes?
I'll cut you.
Who votes that Raylene hacks Michael's beard off?
No. Nobody's going to vote for that. Everybody says keep the beard.
No.
Keep the beard.
I'm going to put a poll on the Barre City community fan page.
Do not. Hey, Francie, no.
I will win.
Why is everybody hating on my beard?
Chop.
Why is everybody hating on my beard? The beard is amazing.
JD's going to help hack. Kristen Perry's laughing her ass off.
Goodness. All right.
I'm telling you.
All right. That's enough. You
Who
guys
wants
are
to bring
being
the
cut
dart
off.
gun?
Unlike my beard.
Did you just tell me to fuck off?
No, I said you guys are being cut off.
Oh, I was shocked. I was like, what?
No.
Michael Boudin said the F word?
No,
No way.
All right. Hey, folks. Thank you for watching the Barre Beat podcast.
Have a great night. And if we don't see you, have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, absolutely. Have a Merry Christmas.
And Happy Hanukkah and all of that stuff. Whatever you celebrate, have an amazing time.
Yes, absolutely.
Stay safe.
Yes.
We love y'all.
Yes. Ta-ta.